Liberation greetings to all and sundry, my dear people of Ambazonia, my dear brave warriors of the liberation movement of the former UN Trust territory of British Southern Cameroons. Accept greetings from me, Comrade John Akuro. Today is January 23, and today is Monday, and it's 2023, the year. My people, as you can see from my face today, I'm extremely excited. Very, very excited. In fact, I have had to entertain myself a bit just before coming to do this live show. For one reason, because the joy that is in my heart now is unparalleled. My people of Ambazonia, we have waited for this day for a long time, and finally, the day is here. In the past, when I communicated, I sang. Like I would have said, this is the day the Lord has made. Let us revel in it. Let us arise and make merry and be joyful. Because, my dear people of Ambazonia, the weeks and months ahead are going to be extremely pregnant. After Canada spoke, La République has spoken. And La République has spoken exactly as a lot of us had predicted to the members of the international community who had one or two things to do in Canada. My dear people of Ambazonia, as you join this live show, share this video, share the link as much as you can. I've said here before that there are a lot of forces fighting this particular platform because La République du Cameroun had feared for a long time that we will get to this point where the people of Ambazonia will stop following this liberation movement with their hearts and start following with their heads. They feared that we'll get to that time, and unfortunately for them, we are there right now. People are no longer using just their hearts. They're using their heads right now. The dynamics are changing. The scales are falling from the eyes of too many people. Everyone now is beginning to recognize the only direction that we must pursue to ensure the freedom of our land. Before I continue, I want to make this very important clarification here that this particular outing today is not meant to bring the opinions or official positions of the liberation movements involved with the pre-talks that took place in Canada or the process that was being birthed. No, it is not that position. This outing is not also meant to be the official policy position of the consortium that I have the privilege to chair. This is a journalistic analysis from Comrade John Akuro. So I like to make this precision so that whatever I say here, range it within this framework. Okay, so that precision made, my people of Ambazonia, I want to say here loud and clear that take your pen, write it down. Today is that day that La République du Cameroun has officially signed up and recognized the independence of Ambazonia. You ask me why? Just chill. We will analyze the communique issued today by the spokesperson of the government of La République du Cameroun, Mr. René Emmanuel Sadi. We will delve into it line after line, and you will understand with me exactly why I'm excited today, why I'm very happy today. And I must congratulate the people of Ambazonia for their clairvoyance, for their bravery, and for the vigilance that we have demonstrated thus far. Why do I say so? Because even just before I came into this live show, I was reading on social media. Some would have expected that people come and say, oh, we have said that. Everybody is excited. Everybody says, this is what we had known, this is what we had expected. Don't forget, in my live show of yesterday, Sunday, January 22, just yesterday, I said, we made clear to all the members and actors of the international community that we have been interacting with that La République du Cameroun is a rogue state, a rogue state, a country that never respects any of its engagements. Recall that during the program yesterday, I said that if La République du Cameroun issues you 100 checks, 99 will bounce. I suppose you recall that I said that 99 will bounce. And even the one check that could be accepted will never be paid in full. That is who La République du Cameroun is. And they have played their cards for a long time to the effect that the international community had not really come up with a clear understanding of who they are. It has taken 2 cubes of sugar, 2 cubes, to render La République du Cameroun completely naked today before the international community for who they are. So, my dear brethren, if you are just joining, share as much as possible. And then, as you fasten your seatbelts and settle down, of course, if you can, take a beautiful glass of something, because this calls for celebration. Okay? It calls for celebration. So while you are fastening your seatbelt and getting something to keep you warm, so that we get into, so we dive into this show fully, I want us to revisit something. I want us to get to something. Now, I'm getting this information from one Patrick Bala, and it's something that I need to share with us all before I delve into this live show, into the vive of this live show. Why am I sharing this? It concerns the death, the assassination of Martinez Zogo. I'm saying this because I like us to know the picture presented here will make you see exactly what our brother Samuel Wazizi went through before his life was gassed. I'd like you to see what a good lot of our people, of our brothers and sisters who are kidnapped, disappeared, and killed, what the kind of pain that they go through. So that you, who are still believing in La République du Cameroun, in that rogue state, you ask yourself if you still have a conscience, that you will hear this kind of thing, hear the way they treat your brethren, and you still say that you are supporting such a rogue system. And so that you, who were thinking you should withdraw from this liberation movement, begin asking yourself whether it makes sense. Because like I have said before, and quoted even the great authors, the great thinkers, that the pain that eats up the oppressed is not just the beatings and the sticks from the oppressor, but the silence of the onlookers who could have done something. This is very important. The silence of the onlookers. The moment you withdraw from this movement because you were hurt one way or the other, not realizing that those were all the antics of the enemy to hurt you so that they cut you off from this liberation movement, you become that dangerous onlooker who could have done something to salvage the situation, but you prefer to just stand and be watching. You become like those gendarme officers in Yaoundé who saw Martinez Zogo drive to their brigade and they shut the doors on him. Even those who stood outside watched him as he was screaming and calling for their help. They watched aloof. Those people also have his blood on their hands. My people of Ambazonia, let us listen. This is what they say. You're going to let me read from my phone. It says, before Martinez Zogo was put to death on Tuesday night, the Satanus alligators had first started by beating him up. Then they raped him. Listen carefully. Then they raped him. This is a man. Then made him to eat his excrement, flayed his skull alive, then cut off all 5 fingers on both hands. Cut off all 5 fingers on both hands. Then they pulled out his toenails before stuffing him with a long piece of wood in the anus, about 60 centimeters. This led to cardiac arrest, followed by death. What torture, what cruelty. All this happened all Tuesday night in a house reserved for their dirty work. It was the early hours of Sunday morning that the elements of the alligator network were forced, thanks to the mobilization of the people, to come out and throw his body at a vacant lot at the Bogo 3. Oh, and he says, this is your country. These are the works of Satanists who want to take power after President Paul Biya. And then he says, this is a very interesting part of this. Patrick Bala, he's from the center. The way he says in the end. May everyone in Cameroon protect their families and their homes from now on. Things took an uncontrollable and irreversible turn. He wants to say things have taken an uncontrollable and irreversible turn. Let no one stay at home with the door open, without provisions like kerosene, candles, rice, food, pocket money. Does this ring a bell in anybody's head? My dear brothers and sisters of Ambazonia, fellow comrades of our liberation movement, of the former UN Trust territory of British Southern Cameroon, for those of you, our brethren who are still in La République du Cameroon, please make hay while the sun shines. I keep talking. Hear their citizens. May everyone in Cameroon protect their families and their homes from now on. Things have taken an uncontrollable and irreversible turn. Let no one stay at home with the door open and without provisions such as kerosene, candles, rice, food, and pocket money. I have told you on this platform day in, day out that La République du Cameroon's day with Armageddon is coming close, drawing closer every day. I said here yesterday that when that day comes, you may be caught off guard if you don't heed to the clarion call I keep making to you on a daily basis. If the tiger can eat its own young one, can eat its own kind, what will it not do to the flesh of a pig? And again, take a careful look at this. This is not all, because you may think that this is all. La République du Cameroon citizens, trade unions, even teachers' trade unions, not journalist trade unions, teachers' trade unions, all the castes of society are mobilizing with torrid anger regarding the assassination of Martinez Zobo. I've even read that those in France and other parts of Europe will this Tuesday, January 24, take to the streets to protest the assassination of Martinez Zobo. My dear brothers and sisters of Ambazonia, did we see this rage when it happened to Samuel Wazizi? A good lot of us cried, screamed, shouted in the wilderness. Even the Association of Cameroon Journalists, to which Wazizi belonged, manned a lot by the Francophones, they never moved a pin. But today, it's Martinez Zobo, one of theirs. Look at the mobilization. Does this send a message to anyone? You will never be considered a bona fide citizen in that country, neither by the government nor by the people. You have your land, full of milk and honey. You are even hearing about discovery of oil, possible discovery of oil in Manu. I have said several times, Southern Cameroon is an El Dorado. All of our territory, an El Dorado. You heard Alice Nkom. She is a Francophone lawyer and activist. She said when Mr. Biya decided to declare war on the Southern Cameroon, she called it Noso. He forgot that the breadbasket of the country is Bamenda. But they have spent time telling you lies that the Grafi people have nothing. They are fighting for independence in order to take all the goodies, all the riches of the people of the forest zone in what they call Southwest. Today, chicken are coming home to roost. Yeah, I followed Aline come ask the question. Nobody who's traveling to Bamenda carries food, buys food to carry there, no. But anybody living from Bamenda or who visits Bamenda lives with bags upon bags of food. People come straight from Gabon, from Equatorial Guinea, from Central African Republic, from Chad to buy straight from the farms in that same grass field that the government seeks to make people feel is arid just because of the divide and rule tactics. I'm coming to eat my people of Ambazonia. Don't shake an inch on this program because, my dear brethren, you're going to lose a lot if you move. Okay, so now, having said that, that is about what happened to Martinez Zogo. And if this can happen to their own, imagine therefore what they have been doing to our people. Imagine the degree of inhumanity. Of course, we all watched what happened to Sam Sawyer. They did that already to Sam Sawyer on camera. We saw it. They sent their proxies to do the same thing on the wardress in Pinyin. Can let me just keep my brain. When it comes, I will call it. Florence, yes. They did the same thing on Florence in Pinyin. They sent their proxy forces to show that same barbarism on her, and it was filmed. This is what our people are going through every day. And this is just the beginning. If we don't rise to put an end to this, it is just the beginning. Now the citizens of La République du Cameroon are recognizing that compared to La République du Cameroon, Sodom and Gomorrah might have been made of more righteous people. Because there is nothing that compares to the satanism that has taken over La République du Cameroon. This is clear. You can check that. Everything is before our eyes. And now, therefore, my people of Ambazonia, let's move straight into this press release issued today by René Emmanuel Sadi, Minister of Communication of La République du Cameroon, and their government spokesperson. That's January 23, 2023. Of course, according to the protocols, we were informed regarding the pre-talks taking place in Canada. La République du Cameroon had to communicate today. The Ambazonia site had to communicate over the weekend. And of course, Ambazonians communicated, welcomed the process, and confirmed the involvement of Ambazonia. La République du Cameroon was expected by Canada and all its partners from across the world to do same today. And then the drama occurred. This drama is very interesting. I said earlier that today is the day that La République du Cameroon has officially recognized and signed and sealed the independence of Ambazonia. Today, by this single act, the die is cast. So let me read it out. The minister says, following recent information disseminated by certain media. Now listen, let's start just from there. Following recent information disseminated by certain media, the government of the Republic of Cameroon informs national and international community that it has not entrusted any foreign country or external entity with any role of mediator or facilitator to settle the crisis in the northwest and southwest regions. Now, the first thing you see in this first paragraph, right from the first line, he says, following recent information disseminated by certain media, René Emmanuel Sadi does one stupid thing that shows exactly how dishonest and horrible that country is. The source of that information disseminated by some media, as they call it, is the Foreign Minister of Canada, not the Canadian Foreign Ministry, the Foreign Minister of Canada, who officially informed the international community. So the press merely relayed a press statement by the Canadian Minister of Foreign Affairs. And that it did not end there. The Canadian High Commission in Yaoundé, the Canadian High Commission, or called Embassy in Yaoundé, sent out a tweet confirming that information. The Embassy, the High Commission in Yaoundé. Next, the Canadian Ambassador or permanent representative at the United Nations in New York sent out a tweet confirming that information. So now, my people of Ambazonia, You can see for yourselves that La République du Cameroon, by refusing to mention Canada, shows that that country will never, ever be trusted again by any actor on the international scene. Let's continue. He said it recalls that it is first and foremost up to the Cameroonian people, to the institutions and leaders that they have freely chosen to seek appropriate ways and means to address problems facing our country. Really, leaders freely chosen. Of course, everyone knows there's never been any free and fair election in that country. This is a system made up of brigands. Brigands. I will soon come and we'll look at the scores. Because they have there, what they have there is Chelsea versus Barcelona. You will soon hear. He says the major national dialogue, which was held in Yaoundé in 2019, was an opportunity for the sons and daughters of Cameroon to exchange freely and discuss prospects for a future of peace, security, and progress for our country. This same national dialogue, they themselves have said there needs to be another one because that one failed. They themselves recognized that it failed. At that dialogue, they came up with something called spatial status that they themselves did not know what it should look like. And to this day, none of them knows what that spatial status is all about. They know that the people of the southern Cameroons, even people within the Cameroon government system, rejected that dialogue because it was a monologue. They know it. That's why they sent delegations to Canada several times, because they know it. He says, since then, the government of the Republic has been working to implement the recommendations of this major dialogue. It is also continuing its efforts for the reconstruction of areas affected by the crisis and providing assistance to the populations concerned. Of course, we know how they have been continuing. Few days back, they were burning down villages in Com. Few days back, they were destroying and taking lives in Isu. Few days back, they were burning village communities in Bui. Few days back, they were causing serious havoc in India. That is the reconstruction. That is the implementation of Paul Biya's Grand National Monologue. That is the implementation. That's what René Manuel Sadi is saying here. And he says, the government of the Republic thanks friendly countries and international institutions for the interest they take in our country and for the multifaceted support they provide. He says the government firmly condemns the deadly attacks and the destruction that certain terrorist groups continue to perpetrate in the northwest and southwest regions. Listen, you see, this bellicose language simply betrays one thing. La République du Cameroon knows it has capitulated. La République du Cameroon knows that they have run out of options. La République du Cameroon knows that their divide and rule tactics have not succeeded anymore. La République du Cameroon knows that even the infiltration has not in any way touched the will, the resilience, and the determination of the people of Ambazonia to take back their country. La République du Cameroon knows that all attempts to get the international community to consider us as terrorist organizations have failed. And therefore, La République du Cameroon can only cap out and try to use this kind of language in a kind of cover-up. And that's why he says, the government commends the defense and security forces for their bravery and the professionalism with which they accomplish their missions of defending the territorial integrity and protecting the civilian population. Now, this is like to say, we don't want to hear about Canada because we will continue with the military option. Because we still believe that we will try our last effort. They believe that since they are still shaking their heads in a few places, they thought that maybe they saw some degree of calm between Christmas and the first few days of January. So he thought it was up. Now, he says no. He is actually saying they will continue the military option, but they have been warned over and over and over that they will never succeed with the military option. But that country doesn't understand. They don't hear. And he says, the government urges friendly countries to track down and bring to justice those who from abroad are financing and encouraging violence in our country, and thanks the government of the United States of America for the actions that have made it possible to bring the perpetrators of such acts to justice and encourage other friendly countries of Cameroon to do the same. Now the Republic of Cameroon is doing one thing here, poking the fingers into the eyes of the United States of America and informing Canada and the United Nations that was present in Canada that, as a matter of fact, because of the support we're expecting from the United States of America to perpetuate our colonial rule on Ambazonia, we will not go to the negotiation table, although we signed up to go. This is the message here. La République du Cameroon is telling Canada that they are going rogue because of encouragement from the United States of America. I think this is a clear message to Washington to understand who they are dealing with, to understand that La République du Cameroon is a rogue system that would generally hang on anything, anywhere to say any kind of trash, just because they never solve problems, just because they live in a world of make-believe. So he says, the government of the Republic once again urges members of the armed groups to seize the peace offer by the President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Biya, and once again contribute to the great work of nation building. Now, you have seen for yourselves from this press release that the government of Cameroon did not have the courage to mention Canada that originated the press statement that the media world took and amplified, simply because that is how dishonest the country is. I personally, I spent time during those discussions sensitizing the international actors I had the opportunity to talk to, telling them La République du Cameroon never keeps to any of its engagements. For one of them, I even took several examples down the lane. I said that country is the lone country in the world with about 3 to 4 constitutions. A country that cannot even implement its own constitution. I said, take a look. That country has talked about decentralization there for at least 2 decades and a half. To date, they have not decentralized even within their own territory, La République du Cameroon, by up to 3%. I said that country has preached democracy, preached all kinds of things. But see who they are. That country preaches freedom of speech and freedom of expression. But you can see for yourselves that there is no freedom after expression. And I told them, if La République du Cameroon issues 1,000 checks, I didn't tell them like yesterday that I used 100. I said 1,000. 999 will bounce. The only one that may have the luck to go through will never be fully cleared. If it is cleared, it will be cleared in bits. That is who La République is. Implementing their constitution in bits, in fragments. The only country in the world that implements its own constitution in fragments. And to date, 25 years after, they have not succeeded in implementing up to 6 articles in their constitution. That is the kind of rogue country that we are dealing with here. My people of Ambazonia, today, La République du Cameroon has proven to the eyes of the international community that the people of the southern Cameroons are a people trapped by a mistake of the international community. When Cameroon says today that they can never go for any mediation, they will solve it internal territorial integrity, they forget that in 1961, the referendum that brought the 2 Cameroons together, the Southern Cameroons and La République du Cameroon, was not organized by La République du Cameroon, was organized by the United Nations, by the international community. La République du Cameroon forgets that the entire world knows that when that thing happened, there was a constitution which was overseen, which stated that the federal nature of the state will be inviolate. It will never be touched. La République lifted it. So today, by this single act this day, La République has confirmed to the entire world that the people of Ambazonia, by right, have to fight and get La République du Cameroun out of their territory. I've always said and sworn to all international actors that I've met that anything, any form of arrangements that connects us in any way at all, again with La République du Cameroun, will be unwelcome. Because they are a people who never respect arrangements, respect agreements, respect their engagements, that they freely take. La République du Cameroun sent delegations several times to Canada. Which delegations got clearance from Yaoundé to append to a document committing the international responsibility of that country. And today, shamelessly, René Emmanuel Sadi comes out to give the impression to the international community that Canada is lying, that the government of Canada is telling lies against them. Of course, I wasn't there, but I can say it with a lot of certainty because of information I had from people within government circles in Yaoundé, that Canada even delayed to announce because there were a lot of consultations going on with the powers in Yaoundé because of the division inside Yaoundé. My people of Ambazonia, in the case of Switzerland, La République du Cameroun never sent even a single delegation to Switzerland. But again, our brethren, who were optimistic, where some of us were pessimistic, went in. And they also ended up proving that La République du Cameroun does not want peace. That La République du Cameroun only wants trouble. In that case, La République du Cameroun never made any official statement, either in acquiescence or in denial. That was because they never went there. They never sent any delegation there. And they decided to keep silent for 3 good years. I mean 3 good years. Until they now literally forced the Swiss government to come out and announce itself that their initiative was botched. But in the case of Canada, La République du Cameroun could not keep such a silence. Why? Because there was a clearly agreed upon protocol of communication. And La République du Cameroun had to communicate today. They had to talk today. And so La République du Cameroun had its back to the wall. They needed to talk. And this is what they have said. They came out. So my people of Ambazonia, we have succeeded in pushing La République du Cameroun to exactly that corner we have always wanted to get them there. La République du Cameroun, where we're talking right now, is extremely cornered, weakened, fragilized, totally destroyed. It's a matter of time. The noise that you are hearing from them, the mirage that they are brandishing, is just a way to try and see if they can make us not realize that we have crushed them, not realize that we have weakened them to the point they can't stand it anymore. What they're doing now is what they call false courage. But unfortunately, they have touched the wrong end. I heard Pope Francis talking in relation to the situation in Ukraine, say it was right and righteous for the Western countries to arm Ukrainians to defend themselves, to defend their territory. I think it is clear today to everyone in the world that it is now time and the fiat has been given for the international community, for these same countries manning the world, to arm the people of the southern Cameroons to defend themselves against colonial domination. It is now apparent to all that the government of Cameroon does not want peace. I have said here before that if you talk about division, the government of Cameroon, that Cameroon was more divided than Ambazonia, extremely divided. But they felt that they could fit on our division to hide what is happening in their ranks. Oh, hell no, it failed. It failed. Because today, the division within the ranks of La République du Cameroun have come now to the public space, to the public international space. Oh yes, like I said, they're divided in as in two clubs, Chelsea versus Barcelona. That is actually how they call themselves. Those are their pet names. And team A, they call themselves Barcelona. That team A is made up of Laurent Esso, Louis Paul Motaze, Atanga Ponji, Amugu Belinga, the man who is known by all to have cut short the life of Martinez Ogo. Eyebe Ayisi, who is Minister of Land Tenure. René Emmanuel Sadi, of course, who issued this press release. Mvondo Ayolo, who is even the director of the civil cabinet, sitting by Paul Biya. He's in team A in Barcelona. He's not in the same team with his boss. That's Mvondo Ayolo. That is Barcelona. So now on to Chelsea. That's team B. You have Ferdinand Gongo. You have, of course, the First Lady Chantal Biya. You have Etoga. You have Joseph Betty Asomo. You have Mbarigangele, who is in charge of the police force. You have Abraham, the Israeli man that is manning the B. Of course, that is team B. Okay, that is team B. This one is a team that calls itself Chelsea. Now there's a team C, which has not given itself its own pet name. And that team C is now made up of Paul Biya. Chantal Biya is also part of team C, although she's in team B. But she's in team C for strategic reasons. You have Frank Biya, of course, in team C. You have the Lamido of Fumba, the Lamido of Ray Buba, and the Lamido of Rayo Malo. My people of Ambazonia, this is how the government of Cameroon is strictly divided. So the Warhawks are in team B and team A. Now you notice that in these teams, the only individual of Southern Cameroon's extraction who is involved with them is Atanga Ponji, whose wife is from the south. It's Atanga Ponji. You notice that the prime minister, who is supposed to be head of government, is not anywhere to be found. That is why he is subdued. That is why he is dignified. And that is why nobody pays any attention to whatever he says. My people of Ambazonia, La République du Cameroon had the habit of saying, who will we dialogue with on the side of Ambazonia? When they came to Canada, they expected that they were going to meet our various groups, movements, and organizations that were present there, fighting among ourselves. Unfortunately, they saw a solidly united set of Ambazonians. United! When we had differences, we asked for time out. Quarreled, fought, insulted each other, and made peace in the hotel rooms. Came back as one people. La République du Cameroon could not imagine this. La République du Cameroon could not believe this. La République du Cameroon had never conceived this. La République du Cameroon had never factored this out because they knew they had planted spoilers in our midst who would make it impossible for us to ever show a united front. For the first time in a long time, the international community watched with admiration how the various Ambazonian groups gathered themselves together in a team, operated as a team from day one all the way to the end. I want to once more dove my heart to those delegates. Oh yes, some in our midst have called them names. Some have called them that they are butchers. Some have called them that they are weightlifters. So they have called some of them that they are nobodies altogether. Some have described them as nurses with no idea of how the international system functions. But this cast of people, call them a ragtag diplomatic group as you care, just like the ragtag voices in the bushes on Ground Zero, gave La République du Cameroon nose bleeding. You see La République du Cameroon now sweating profusely from what happened in Canada. They could not believe their eyes that people they thought were totally limited knew nothing could hold it firm the way we did. They couldn't believe their eyes. Oh yes, trust me. Because our people were meticulous. Meticulous. No word was allowed to fall in the wrong place. La République du Cameroon saw danger. La République du Cameroon saw fire. And now something happened. From the moment Canada released the presser announcing that a peace process was in place and there was a commitment from both La République du Cameroon and the former UN Trust Territory of British Southern Cameroons, and that both parties had chosen and given a mandate to Canada to be the facilitator, and that Canada had accepted. From that moment, La République du Cameroon expected to see decision among those who did not sign up immediately to be horrible, to give them room to come and say, yes, we are in. Unfortunately, between that day and yesterday, Sunday, when the statement from Ambazonia was released, La République du Cameroon has rather seen fire. La République du Cameroon has rather realized that even some of those who cast aspersions on us, even some of those who promoted conspiracy theories, that those leaders who were committed with the pre-talks going on in Canada, with the something going on in Canada, had received huge envelopes from La République du Cameroon to promote their One Cameroon agenda. That even those who came out with all these conspiracy theories and claimed that even the CDN was receiving heavy cash from the Prime Minister's office in Yaoundé to intoxicate us so that we should recast another former. These ones, these hardliners, rose to the occasion and decided to endorse the process and committed to being part of the process. La République du Cameroon smelled a dead rat. They realized that if they came out with a press release in acquiescence, by the end of the week, all the infighting among the Ambazonia could be a thing of the past. That all the factions would have come together. Another thing killed La République du Cameroon. That we said, going forward, Ambazonia will be represented by a team of experts, not representing groups, but representing Ambazonia. Hey! They said, how did this happen? Where were we? How did this elude us? And how do we manage this? They had to start struggling to see how to do damage control. In the process, they destroyed themselves with this. This is the result. They never expected Ambazonia to show a united front. My people of Ambazonia, if anyone among us ever needed evidence to understand that a united Ambazonia will get La République du Cameroon out of our territory within months only, months, then this is the evidence. This is the evidence. If you ever doubted, see from here. From today, if you have ever been an agent of division, of the fragmentation in our midst, graduate. Make a U-turn. Make a U-turn. Understand the strength that has been demonstrated by the synergy among us. Oh my goodness. I want to thank the CDN that has been so vilified, so attacked, called all kinds of names. I want to thank them for being that platform that helped in coordinating our actions, in bringing us closely together, in organizing us, in uniting us, so that we do what we have done. Lifting this feat would not have been possible without their input. But I salute their bravery, their cool-headedness, and their cool blood. Because despite all the attacks, the aspersions, the everything, the name calling, even the outright threats, they remained serene, calm, and committed to what they were doing. My people of Ambazonia, I have said several times that we will be free. I've said several times that Biya is our gift that will never stop giving. If we don't realize our dream under Paul Biya, it will take us another century. Unite. Come together. Come together. Synergize. That is what we need now, post-Canada. That is what will propel us ahead more than anything else. Our people say, he whom the gods want to destroy, they first send him mad. Everybody can see for themselves that a country like Cameroon will stand on the road to want to tell the world that a country like Canada lied against them, that they committed to a process, that they gave it a mandate as facilitator. You recall, and I want to take us back to the Bible because history always repeats itself. Sometimes people want to, make as if these things don't matter. History always repeats itself. Anytime the children of Israel started hoping that Pharaoh could suddenly change, that King Pharaoh could suddenly change and do something that will help, what does the Bible say? God said, I hardened his heart. Why was God hardening his heart? Because God wanted the children of Israel to be free. Anytime Paul Biya has had the opportunity to do something that could destroy the resolve of the people of Ambazonia, what has God done? Hardened his heart. If you have been doubting, this is another time. Switzerland gave him an opportunity, golden one. He dumped it. They themselves carried their legs, moved to Canada. Right up to this point where they just needed to consolidate. What have they done? God has hardened their hearts again. Why? So that the international community should see that Ambazonians didn't have to ever be unevenly yoked with this kind of people in the first place. This is a message we must all continue to share among ourselves, to let our people know that today is our day of victory, our day of celebration. Because finally, the international community can now confirm that a united Ambazonia, we don't know who to communicate with, who to dialogue with in La République du Cameroun. Oh yes. Is it with Team A, Team B, or Team C? You engage with Team A, Team B will spoil. You engage with Team B, Team C will spoil. Engage with Team C, Team A will spoil. Who will Ambazonia dialogue with in La République du Cameroun? I said here several times that they're more divided than we are. The hunter has become the hunted. It is clear now. It is evident. Everyone can see for themselves. So my dear people of Ambazonia, as you share this message over and over, make sure you continue to remind yourselves that the time to remain vigilant, to remain committed, to go back to all those who for one reason or the other have withdrawn and tell them, come to the fold. That time is now. I've always said, the darkest hour of the night is the hour just before dawn. Here in La République, they say, enfin, la nuit des longs couteaux a été officialisée. Enfin, la nuit des longs couteaux a été officialisée. You now hear citizens of La République being called upon to do what? Here. Citizens of La République du Cameroun being called upon to do what? Protect their families and their homes from now on. Things have taken an uncontrollable and irreversible turn. Let no one stay at home with the door open and without provisions. Kerosene, candles, rice, food, pocket money. This is from Patrick Bala. This message is circulating like wildfire in La République du Cameroun. This tells you that the apocalyptic moment we've been talking about is around the corner. One sound morning, you will rise. I will not recognize what you will see before you. Ambazonia is real. Ambazonia is as real as life and death. This is a dream you must believe in. This is a liberation movement you must get involved in. This is the time for each and every one to write their name on the sands of time regarding this liberation movement. If you have never been optimistic, begin from today and know that the end is night. To God be all.